Hey, what's up, everyone? Back here with another Royal Rumble review. This time we're looking at 2003. I'm Brett Mix. What a mixed bag this event was, eh? I'm Canadian, by the way. There's the A. Uh, I never noticed I said that till now. The A. Weird. Anyways, welcome to the 2003 Royal Rumble review. It's a mixed bag because I dare you right now to try and find a pay-per-view event that has worse two back-to-back matches. They have to be consecutive. Think back to an event that has the third match of the night and the fourth match of the night, or maybe the first match of the night, the second match of the night. They have to be together. Back to back matches. I dare anyone in the comment section to try and find a pay per view that has two worst back to back matches in this event. And what's amazing is the second half of the worst back to back matches follows one of the best matches of all time. That's what you have at this pay per view. That's before the Royal Rumble even gets started. So sit back for this one. They opened the show with Big Show and Brock Lesnar, and the stipulation here was if Brock Lesnar beat the Big Show, who had Heyman in his corner this time after he screwed Lesnar out of his contract or whatever at Survivor Series 2002, and the WWE title. So this is Brock's quest to get back to the main event of WrestleMania, but first he had to go through the Big Show. Do you guys even think for a minute that the Big Show could win this? I mean, this is so obvious that Brock Lesnar was going to win, and it was obvious that if he won this match, he's going to win the Royal Rumble. That's the only thing I didn't like about this build is they make it too obvious. Kind of like the next year with Chris Benoit, with Paul Heyman saying that that's the only way he can get to the title is through the Rumble. So you kind of thought, yeah. Anyway, that match took place first, but basically consisted of spots, like a 5 minute match, 6:29 to be exact. But it consisted of just a bunch of impressive spots about Brock, what he's able to do with the 7 foot Big Show, and suplexes, the F5, and that's the match. Short and sweet to the point, just like the Survivor Series match. I gave that 2 stars. Up next, we got the Dudley Boys taking on Regal and Storm for the tag team titles. And this one right here was a relatively good match. The crowd got settled in after the first big man opener between Lesnar and Show. They got settled in for this one as you had two technicians against power wrestlers like the Dudleys. But Regal and Storm are known for their methodical wrestling, but the Dudleys kept up with the pace. They went for a what's up, but Regal hit a flapjack, and Storm hit a flapjack to Devon before their what's up move. Fans chanted for the 3D for the Dudleys, but the chief of staff, Sean Morley, ran out, and Regal came out with the Nux right when Morley came out to distract the referee. And a knockout shot from Devon Dudley to Storm. In the end, Devon Dudley pinned Storm after hitting him with the brass knuckles that were brought into the match earlier by Regal at 7:24 to become the new tag team champions. Another title reign for the Dudleys. This one wasn't an amazing win, but it was still a big win for them, becoming new champions. I wouldn't say what I meant by that is they're not as over as they were in the early 2000s, but by 2003, they kind of ran their course, but still a win is a win, and it just didn't have the same feel as it did in 2001 when they beat Edge and Christian. That's just what I mean by that. Nonetheless, this is a good match. Regal and Storm helped that, and I give it 2.5 stars. I'm going to keep it that way. Of course, I like to mention while I review, I'm reading my old review on the website I used to work for. You can still find these on Google under Brett Mix Reviews, but I'm just doing it in video form, and I'm changing it because I watched the pay-per-view event before this, and then I give the inaccurate rating. So I do change some of the ratings. All right, here's the first half of that worst match ever. The worst sequence of matches ever, I should say, on an event. It's Torrie Wilson versus Dawn Marie. The only thing worse than this match is the build up to this match with Al Wilson, him dying, and Dawn and Tori. I mean, seeing two ladies kiss, yeah, if I wanted to see that, it's just a click away. And even in 2003, it was just a click away. A little bit harder to find, but still a click away. You might have had to close a lot of X's on your screen, but still, anyway, um, you get the point. Dawn Marie and Tori Wilson. Tori tried, she did. They saw what happened with Trish, and they tried to make Tori into that, and it didn't really work. She should stick to being the pretty face she is, and she did. This was a dud. 3 minutes and 33 seconds, too long. All right, now we got the second of the worst matches. Scott Steiner and Triple H. Oh, if they didn't build this match for 7 weeks in a row on Raw with the pose downs and all the other shit that came, and they didn't build. This is Steiner's first big match, or I'm not sure if this was Steiner's first match since coming back, but it was his first big match. It might have been his first match coming back. So it had a lot of hype, and Steiner used to be a great worker, like in the WCW or in the early WWF with his brother Rick, but he just didn't have it anymore. Triple H came out in the red trunks. Scott came in first to get that pretty decent reaction from the Boston crowd, but that wouldn't last long. A few suplexes that way, and and then another suplex this way, and another or he goes and every time he does that, like he's yelling for his freaks to make noise, but each time he does that, the crowd boos. And they worked at a snail's pace here. I don't know what Triple H was thinking. I don't understand the methodical style that doesn't fit. Steiner at this point was a Smash Mouth style. Why do you think Scott Steiner and Goldberg worked so well at Fall Brawl? I believe it was Fall Brawl 2000. It was one of the only good matches in the year 2000 in WCW, so I should remember the date, the event. Um, Nonetheless, Steiner, him and Triple H really just shit the bed here. Botch after botch. Steiner couldn't. He dropped Triple H on one of his neck breaker attempt. The crowd was restless because they just sat through Tori and Dawn, and now you got to sit through this. And they knew everything started to get booed. Every move, everything started to get booed. Every single thing they did just got a bigger boo. And then to make things worse, the sledgehammer comes in, Flair comes in, and then their DQ finish. The fans booed even more, and then afterwards there's a camel clutch and all that shit. They booed, booed, booed. Anyway, I gave this half a star. Being polite. It's really interesting that to have those two matches back to back, and then to have the match that I'm gonna say right here, Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit, followed that match, followed those two matches. So the crowd was probably ready to leave, but they saw Angle and Benoit was next, and they still had the Rumble. And these two matches pretty much make the show because everything we've seen before was either shit or raw quality, like that tag match. All right. Angle versus Benoit. They have met before and they'd meet after. There was classics before and there's the classics after. This one might be the very best. I gave it 4 stars and 3/4, so 4.75. But anyone that puts this match at 5 stars, no argument for me. It was a 20-minute match, exactly 1 second over. Angle won with the ankle lock, but these two guys, Benoit finally had to tap. These two guys did everything they could in the 20 minutes to make this a spectacle. I always argue that if you put the climax of a match in the middle of the match, it's going to run very well, and they did that here with this match. But it was so much more than that. It was all the near falls. It was just showing that both men wanted to up the other one with leverage, with wrestling moves. Both men were just completely spent by the time this was done. This was one of the greatest matches of all time. Of all time. And it would definitely be talked about more in in wrestling's pop culture or the universe, I should say, if Benoit wasn't in it, or we were allowed to talk about Benoit. And when I say we, I mean the WWE wrestlers and everybody else looking back. They would all say this match was one of the best, but you never hear about that anymore. So I'm saying it. All right. Main event, the 2003 Royal Rumble match. I mentioned that the 02 and 01 had great rosters. I looked at the 03. Wow. I might be taken back because they put the best 15 Raw. See, this is the best Rumble since this is the first Rumble since the brand split. So they put the best 15 guys from Raw and the best 15 from SmackDown. And you got a pretty stacked card here. Let's go through this. I just want people to see what I'm talking about. Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and when I say these names, think about other Rumble names I've said it from my past reviews. Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, Chris Nowinski, Rey Mysterio, Edge, Christian, Chavo, Tajiri, Bill DeMott, and Tommy Dreamer. Those are the first 10. That's stacked. Edge, Rey, Ed, Christian, Jericho, HBK, that's stacked. The next 10 are B2, Rob Van Dam, Matt Hardy, Eddie Guerrero, Jeff Hardy, Rosie, Test, John Cena, Charlie Haas, and Rikishi. Big names there too. RVD, John Cena, the Hardys, Eddie Guerrero. And now 20 to 30. Jamal, later be Umaga, Kane, Shelton Benjamin, Booker T, A-Train, Maven, Goldust, Batista, Brock Lesnar, and The Undertaker. So, and that's great. This Rumble had many great spots like they did. I thought the 01 to 03 Rumbles, they booked them extremely well in the ring. Like the spots they had, the intervals, the who was in the ring at the same time. They just did a very good job, and this was no different. I loved the Raw versus SmackDown vibe in the match. I loved the spots. I loved John Cena's rapping to the ring. The Undertaker came out. I thought he was going to be the dead man because they were teasing his dark side before he came back, but he ended up getting eliminated in the end by Brock Lesnar as Taker was focused on eliminating Batista. Brock Lesnar came from behind and scooped him out. So Lesnar won that match. Overall, I rated this Rumble match as a whole, not the pay per view. The pay per view I'll get to in a second, but this Rumble match I rated 3.5 stars. The pay per view itself I rated a 6 out of 10 because you can't look past those awful two matches. But you can also say it has one of the greatest matches of all time and a good Rumble match. So it's a hit and miss pay per view, but you should see it for the good shit. And hey, who doesn't want to see a car wreck sometimes? Watch it for the bad shit too, just to shit on it. Anyways, I'm Brett Mix. We'll see you for the next review. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't.